Coming up on today's Chiefs Report, Pro Football Focus and online sports books believe that David Bakhtiari and Tee Higgins could be headed to Kansas City. We'll explain more, go over the numbers and how each of them would fit, how much it would cost, coming up in just a matter of moments. I am Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us here on the program today. Before we go any further, we need your help to grow this channel. We want as many people that are in the Chiefs Kingdom to be a part of what we're doing, bringing you daily Kansas City Chiefs content you won't find anywhere else. Share this video with a fellow Chiefs fan, whether it be on Facebook, on X, Instagram, maybe text message, whatever it may be. We want to get this show out to as many people as possible so they can have as much fun as we are here each and every day on the channel. Share the video. We'll get started with today's show. Let's start with Tee Higgins. Pro Football Focus recommending one move for Kansas City, and it would be a trade for Tee Higgins. Tee Higgins enters the final year of his deal with the Cincinnati Bengals, and the belief among many is that this is it for Tee Higgins in Cincinnati, and that the idea has been that he would likely play this season out and then move on elsewhere next year, but there still remains a possibility that the Bengals could go ahead and try to get something out of him now while they can before the season begins. Here's more from Pro Football Focus on Higgins and the Chiefs. The Chiefs have long been in the hypothetical market for a receiver despite signing Marquise Brown. The Bengals might not be too content with the idea of trading Tee Higgins to a Super Bowl contending rival, especially when those rivals are the reigning Super Bowl champions. But a long-term contract doesn't appear to be on the horizon for Higgins. Rather than let him walk, the Bengals could look to move him for future draft picks. The Chiefs should throw themselves into the sweepstakes. Travis Kelce might not have too many years left in the tank, and Higgins would give Mahomes a legit X-receiver. While playoff rival trades are very rare, although we did just see the Bills trade with the Texans this past year, Stephon Diggs, I wouldn't completely rule this out, because if we know anything about our leader, Brett Veach, he is very aggressive. He is not afraid to take some chances and make heaven and earth move, whatever it takes to provide Patrick Mahomes with whatever he needs. We've seen that year in and year out, right? And Tee Higgins would be a huge gain for this Kansas City Chiefs offense. This receiving core, I already think going into 2024, is going to be greatly improved as is. But if you add Tee Higgins to the mix, then we're talking about this going to a whole nother level, because you don't know how long Rashee Rice is going to be out right now. Marquise Brown is a solid receiver, but if we're going to be honest here, he's not much more than a wide receiver 2 at this point. And Xavier Worthy, there's a great unknown with him as a rookie and how long it will take for him to develop. So do you guys think Cincinnati would actually do this, though? Do you think the Bengals would be willing to move Tee Higgins right here to the Kansas City Chiefs? Be honest with me. Give us your thoughts in our pinned comment today. Why for yes and for no. Let us know what you think. Let's go over these statistics on Tee Higgins now. And Higgins last year missed a few games, which brought his streak to 1,000-yard seasons, 2 in a row, come to an end last year as he ended up with just 656 receiving yards with 42 catches, 15.6 yards per reception, and 5 touchdowns. But you see the other 2 seasons when he played most of the year, in 2021 had over 1,000 yards with 6 touchdowns, 14.7 yards a reception. 2022 had 74 catches, 1,029 yards, 14 yards of reception, and 7 touchdowns. What I love about this possibility is that Tee Higgins is a totally different receiver than what the Kansas City Chiefs currently have on a roster. Think about it like a basketball team, right? A great basketball team is one where everyone knows their role. When they play a different role, and everyone knows how to play it. Just because the Chiefs have an improved receiving core this upcoming year doesn't mean that every role necessarily is filled. Tee Higgins comes in, and immediately he brings something that the Chiefs don't have to this receiving core. Take a look. This is what we're talking about measurables-wise, folks. At 6'4", he would be the big target, right? To put it in simple terms, the big fella, if you will. At 6'4", 216, a wingspan of 81 inches. Comparably speaking, that's a lot more than Xavier Worthy, a lot more than Rashee Rice or Kadarius Toney. And then Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Kadarius Toney. You can even add Marquise Brown to the mix. Those are all speed guys. Tee Higgins could be that threat to get you that yards after catch, to get you those red zone scores. And as mentioned there, we don't know how much longer Travis Kelce's going to play at a high level. That would make things feel a lot easier if Kelce goes on this decline, if you have Tee Higgins a part of this equation here. The best case scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs to pull off a trade like this is giving up a second and a fifth-round pick. And that might not be enough, especially considering there's going to be other teams in the market for Tee Higgins as well. When you think about the New England Patriots, when you think about the Washington Commanders, I know the Pittsburgh Steelers have been looking at receiver options as well. There'll be other teams that will be interested. A second and a fifth is probably the best case scenario. I know the Bengals want a first. I don't know if they're necessarily going to get that, but you have to give up that much, and you still have to pay him as well. We'll go over some numbers here on that in just a moment. Let's ask you, would you make this trade? Type T for trade, X for no. What do you guys think? Would you trade for Tee Higgins with the option that's on your screen right now? Let us know what you think. It's an emphatic yes from me. I will do this every single time. If I got the opportunity not only to make my receiving core better, but also make one of my biggest opponents, the Cincinnati Bengals, even worse, that's a win. And if Moore and Toney are gone, which a lot of people anticipate is going to be the case, you're going to need somebody to step in, and Tee Higgins would do more than enough. You wouldn't be losing sleep at night, losing Moore and Toney if Tee Higgins is that guy stepping into the fold. Now, let's talk about the Benjamins. This is where it starts to get a little tricky if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Higgins just signed a one-year contract for $22.82 million. That's still below his actual market value of what he would command on the open market. Because you think about this, if you're the Chiefs, it's not just the trade of giving up, let's say, a second and a fifth, but then extending him as well, and extending him pretty quickly. Because this wide receiver market is getting outrageous. We saw it, case in point with Tyreek Hill here just a couple of years ago, leaving for the Miami Dolphins. You look at where things are at right now, and Justin Jefferson just became the highest paid receiver in the league at $35 million. A.J. Brown second at $32 million. St. Brown at $30 million. Tyreek there at $30. Jalen Waddle at 28.25. Devontae Adams at 28. Cooper Kupp at 26.7. Devonta Smith at 25. Nico Collins at 24.25. DK Metcalf at $24 million. If you're Tee Higgins, there's no reason why that he would settle for anything less than $30 million at this point. He is going to want the same type of money that St. Brown got just recently with the Detroit Lions. And if, let's say, that the Chiefs decide to wait, if they have their eyes set on Tee Higgins next offseason, for example, I can promise you right now that $30 million is going to look like a bargain, comparably speaking to what it would likely cost next season for a player of his caliber, as these wide receiver price ranges just continue to go up just astronomically, as we've seen over the last few years. Got a great deal that we're offering Chiefs fans right now. It's the Chiefs shirt and hat combination on sale at chatsports.com/KC Combo. Might stumble upon some free shipping as well. Go see for yourself, and maybe you take the hat, Dad takes the shirt, or you keep both for yourself, whatever it may be. Makes for a great gift. Chatsports.com/KC Combo. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Next up, let's turn our attention to David Bakhtiari, the former Green Bay Packer who's available in free agency now, looking for his next home. He's had a very good career, was banged up most of last year. And the odds-on favorites are the Chicago Bears, the arch rival of the Green Bay Packers, for him to land. But not too far behind, that is where we find the Kansas City Chiefs at plus 600, according to the guys out west right now. So that's very intriguing. We've talked a little bit on this program about the Chiefs' offensive line and the potential need there. What do you think about signing Big David here? Let us know. We're going to talk about this a little bit more and what the money looks like per se, but I want to hear from you guys first. Type S for sign, P for pass. Let us know what you think. You look at David's resume, and he's been fantastic, right? We mentioned that he's going to have a case for the Pro Football Hall of Fame someday. We know about what he did with Aaron Rodgers for so many years in Green Bay. I know he's had the injuries and all that, but I'm still surprised that at this juncture he's still a free agent. It makes me think, like, is this guy just trying to avoid training camp somewhere or something here? I mean, what is going on? You look at the injuries, though. This is where the concern is. Missed 16 games last year, 6 in 2022, 16 in 2021, and 4 in 2020. The reality is, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you're going to sign him, more than likely, you are not going to have him all 17 games. That's a reality that you are going to have to accept, as he's only played in a total of 13 games in the last 3 seasons. He's allowed 19 total pressures and 835 pass blocking snaps in that stretch of what he's been able to do on the football field. So when he's been healthy, he's been very good, but it's just a matter of he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Here is more from Adam Schefter reporting the following. 5-time All-Pro David Bakhtiari said he's really happy with the progress from his latest knee surgery, so much so that he now hopes to play multiple seasons, and his goal is to play this season with the Super Bowl MVP. Is that Patrick Mahomes? Is that who he's talking about there? That is interesting. Here's what Bakhtiari had to say on the Adam Schefter podcast. They're like, what are you going to play? Where do you want me to play next? I want to play with the next Super Bowl MVP. So whoever the hell that is going to be, it's going to be Mahomes. I better be with him. They'll ask, do you want to play with this player or that player? I just want to be with the next Super Bowl MVP. That's it. Sounds like Kansas City is near the top of his list, because although we've had this crazy offseason across the National Football League, the defending Super Bowl champions only got better, and nothing has changed where the Chiefs are not the favorites entering 2024. To me, it's pretty easy to read between the lines on this one that he wants to be a Kansas City Chief. I think the number that we're looking at is about $7 to $10 million is his range there. George Fant got $7 million from the Seahawks to be their backup swing tackle, but George Fant has been more available, comparably speaking, although they signed him to be a backup. I think that's the range he's looking at. The Chiefs have the cap space to do it right now. I know that we've talked previously about, what if you release Toney or move on from Sky Moore. They could do this tomorrow. If they can get a deal done, $7 to $10 million on kind of a prove-it contract, if you will, to see how that knee holds up, how healthy it will be, I think it makes a ton of sense. What move do you want to see the Chiefs make before the season begins? Is it this? Is it a trade? Is it a Tee Higgins move? What is it? Weigh in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Share today's video on social media. Let's get this show out to the entire Chiefs kingdom. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on the Chiefs Report.